Welcome back, everyone. We're jumping straight into game number 2 between NIP and Top Esports, our final series of the spring split regular season here in the LPL. Top Esports handled game number 1, even though they had a couple little slip-ups. But we're going into game 2 with much the same feelings, but a little bit of a swap sides here. NIP on the blue side, they'll still grab that Smolder. They'll have the Hui and the Nautilus. We already have Top Esports with the Ornn, Xin Zhao, and the Renekton and the Karma.
So that means Senna's coming in last pick, almost certainly, so NIP know what the top... Well, basically I think what they wanted to say is like Shanji, there's a non-zero chance you pick the Ornn. We'll pick the Ornn first, just in case if you had that as a top lane tank counter pick. We'll lock that in for a inevitable Senna duo. So Shanji now has to think towards another tanky champion he wants to play to zone off his frontliners. And we get ourselves what is very likely a tank Rek'Sai top lane. So if you don't know what this does, Rek'Sai has been changed to a champion that regens an awful lot from the rage when you're borrowed. Arky potentially looking towards a carry champion towards the jungle now. But the thing is, with the Rek'Sai, you're much less of an assassin, but you are so obnoxious to get through in the front line. With the Jax locked in, that's likely going into the jungle to be a counter to the Xin Zhao as well.
I love it. Also, a little bit of sneak peek. That is the first top lane Rek'Sai in the LPL. And, you know, Shanji was a big connoisseur of the Shyvana last year, which ran rampant around the leagues, maybe learning a little bit from Broken Shujo once again, or Shenzhen rather, as now we get into it. It's a game 2 of utmost importance for NIP. Wow. Comparatively to the first series, very different.
Yeah, they are very much alive and awake, and NIP, they know how important this series is to them.
The people weren't alive at the
Oh, you know what I mean. Mako, potentially, the thing about this Ornn is that you can sometimes just start the E and look towards the wall knockup as well if people are in a bad spot, so you have to be very careful into Ornn level 1, very good level 1 CC. You choose to stand poorly against him. Senna Ornn can be fine in the laning phase versus the Nautilus and the Smolder as well. It really does feel like Senna has become a more lane-dominant champion than she has been in points in the past. And Shanji's going to walk into 369. You don't win the straight-up trades. You really need level 2 to get towards... Actually, no, he's gone towards the Burrow level 1, so that's going to be different here. But look how much health you get from this. It's 20 HP per stick. Now, a health potion is, what, 150 HP over about, what, 10 seconds or so? Now, if you get a full stack of Rage for the Rek'Sai, you end up getting about 110 HP or something like that through the entirety of it. You basically, with a full Rage buff, get a health potion every time you burrow with full Rage. It's not fair. Gazelle, it's not fair.
Well, I would say that 369 wasn't very fair in that last game. There was a lot of times where he just got away with things.
Like, how do you lane against this? 369 on the blind pick Renekton of LPL, which has been dominating lanes. Walks up to the Rek'Sai, and he just walks underground and just says, well, I'm full health again.
Is this finally the answer we've been looking for? Jackie Love maybe looking for another answer here, as he will end up burning his heal away.
So heal for Ignite on bot side as well. We can... I can bold about this Rek'Sai all I want, but honestly, this game will eventually become about these bot laners. I mean, the Ornn can be backline access. Shanji's looking to buy some time so that Smolder can do the lion's share of work as well. See that the jungle Jack statistics
share of work, Nymera.
We could definitely work with that one. Arky, stat around on this bot side. One more hook and a flash from Arky could lead to an early play. Jackie Love and Mako, they have pushed the wave a little too far.
Ooh, they actually don't get the A-game, but it ends up working out in their favor anyways. Jackie Love burns his flash.
Oh, but so does Aki. Aki doesn't manage to get himself a clean play, but he walks back into the hook!
Love, what are you doing?
The hook hits the wall. If Nautilus hook hits the wall, it goes on half cooldown. Jackie Love completely disrespects that and goes down, despite having such an imperious game 1 on the setup. Same can't be said here in the 2v3, and now with the Hex Flash out of the bush, maybe Mako's going to be in trouble too.
Oh no. Little things going wide for Top Esports bot side here so far, and that is going to be a much different start than I feel like Photic had in that first game on Smolder.
Also, it's going to be a bit of a different start in this mid lane as well. We've got that Hui which outranges the Karma and can do some good work in that bot side. Go back towards here though. Tries to predict the flash, instead hits the wall, still gets the passive auto. He can't quite get himself to CC. Already hit the W, can't really get himself into range quickly enough. But then because it hits the wall, goes on half cooldown. Jackie Love walks up and dies.
I mean, that's honestly, it's plain as day. That was the difference maker. Just not realizing the cooldown was so short. He was still wanting to get a lot of trades off there. Now TN coming to put a Band-Aid on the bot side here, and maybe even find a little bit more than a Band-Aid. They actually get the 3-talent strike onto Jwo as Photic did burn his flash.
So Photic can go back. He can teleport back to lane, so he can go regen, buy himself something, get back out onto the map. How safe would he be if that happened, though? Mako does have flash. He could potentially go for a flash knockup. Under the tower if they went towards it, but with Aki on the bot side of the map, they don't want to stick around. Should be safe for now. Top Esports, they get themselves a flash out of the bot lane, and that's about it.
Unfortunately, I see a black screen right now. But
so do I.
Hopefully that changes. We're back in it. Seems like we're going to have a little bit of issues here. But as we get to it now,
you know what it was? It's POV of borrowed Rek'Sai. There we go. That's it.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. I like that. I like that.
Everything makes sense.
Thinking maybe Nocturne was sitting backstage, being sad that he didn't get played, so he just wanted to turn off the lights. We go very different directions with that.
That one goes above ground, one goes very much subterranean. Shanji, again, he's going to be losing out in some of the CS because 369 just has better wave push at this point in the game as well. You can also see one of the big things that can happen from this Rek'Sai is you just get to put these tunnels down in lane. You have to clear them well. And you think this is a bad trade? No. Again,
nope.
You just keep healing back up again and again. Doran Shield, Second Wind. Yourself maybe revitalize with extra healing as well. You go into a Spirit Visage later. This will continue to increase. 369 with the early wave push though will allow Tian go towards the grubs. Aki contesting.
And Aki has a pretty good contest here. They will end up splitting them 1-for-1 so far. Here comes the collapse. Ooh, Cream burns the flash there. Rookie gonna be chased down now as he will end up burning his own flash. So double flashes for mid laners. He did end up with Top Esports with 2-to-1 grubs in that fashion.
Okay, so it's one grub away, which is good, and also means that Aki gets himself the double XP off the first grub taken as well. That can be important in a matchup where actually both of these champions can do an awful lot of work. We see that Mako burn the flash. Just the replay of how that happened. It's honestly good laning from Photic and Jwo. They've done well on this bot side so far. It's worked out pretty well for them. And potentially that means that Photic, because he's hitting so many champions, can get himself more stacks as well. Of course, the same applies for Jackulov. He'll also get himself more stacks. Both of these champions can get some bonus from combat. We'll see who really gets favored in that trade. Last game, it really did feel like Photic could have taken over, but then he just about messed up the team fights late game.
And Jackulov last game was able to get around the map because they had so much freedom for Top Esports with the early combinations they were able to find. This time, he wasn't there for the first grubbies. He will be here to at least collapse over to the Dragon, but that is another big difference that is keeping NIP in a much more advantageous position.
So Top Esports, first Dragon down, as you just said that, it's going to be Cloud. We'll see which Rift it's going to be a little later. So this time NIP don't get themselves first Dragon for the Smolder comp. And they can't just give up 3 back-to-back knowing that the Soul will come at a time where they can actually fight it with 3 items and 2-2-5 stacks on the Smolder. You need to be careful of that timer. They'd like to get 1 away in this early game if at all possible, but it's kind of hard if you don't have the items ready to fight it.
God, this is annoying. She's just healing in lane. He's healing outside of lane. Yeah. And gets so much. And the biggest conversation then becomes, because I want to be a little bit more introspective about it, is what impact you have later on, right? You definitely have backline access. That's huge. You are going to get poked down to all hell, though. And 369 will have a lot of point-and-click moments when he can flash, get a CC lockdown, and set up Top Esports.
Yeah, it really is going to have to be some pretty good team fighting from NIP's front line one way or another. Of course, you've got the Counter-Strike and you've got the Grandmaster's Might from Aki, which can help you be tanky, but it will be tanky enough. You're not a full tank. You really need to get yourself a lot of gold in pockets to get 2-3 items, Triforce, Thunder Sky, and then something like a Koenig Rooken and the Frozen Heart can be very, very valuable. But how realistic is it going to be at that item mark at the fights in the game that it actually matters for? Same for Shanji. He's going to be tanky earlier into the game. Typically, it has been Sunfire Cape into the Spirit Visage. 2 items is enough for the Rek'Sai to just be very hard to remove from the front line. But still, while all this is happening, you're probably going to be losing out on the early damage against Top Esports, particularly with that Karma 1-item spike and Senna spiking so much earlier than the Smolder.
Aki going to spot out Tien on his side of the jungle. Actually going to wrap around for this top side gank here, trying to bait out 369 if possible. We are getting a lot of top lane priority here, but here comes mid lane priority for Mako. Gonna go on to Rookie there, but ends up having to burn the ulti there instead, and nothing else gonna come of it.
He's going to get spotted on top side as well. Grub spawning in a minute. And used that, and I would like to get one of them. Stop that might buff being activated by Top Esports. Shanji contesting for now, and he's set up his own public transport system of the Rek'Sai subway, and we're going to flash in towards mid lane.
Big flash on a Jackie Love here as well. They don't end up... Oh! That's a lot of early game damage from the Spiraling Despair. And now Shanji with the Void Rush goes on to 369. He's healing a lot, though, and now Tien comes in. He's going to have the 3-Talon Strike going, but he doesn't want to push forward because the rest of NIP are collapsing. But so is Cream. He has the first angle, but he didn't realize that he's just getting pounced on here and gets taken out by Aki. Shanji's going to survive as well, and Top Esports are left wanting.
The top 2v2 doesn't go that cleanly for NIP, but the rest of the map does. 3 kills in the early game on Grub spawn, so NIP can get themselves all of them. I think so. I don't think Tien will stick around for contest on this one. Aki's kind of low. Maybe 369 could have walked out with Jackie Love to contest him. Actually, he needs to be a little bit careful here. He's low enough HP that he can't take all of them. He does take at least one, though, to make sure he gets the XP from the first one and stops potential mites coming in from Top Esports as well. Good goal in hand from NIP. We said that they needed some of that to make sure they can overcome some of the early game first item spikes from Top Esports. We're going to go back to look at this top side 2v2. We saw what happened to Jack Love on the other side of this, but this top 2v2 happened earlier. See that Aki and Shanji, they try and just switch sides of the wall with their ultimates and their flashes to get onto the right target, but they just don't quite have the damage. They're very lucky they have the staying power of that Rek'Sai passive again with the Burrow to keep him topped up to get back onto Cream, who walks over Vision, and the one fight in mid lane leads to a one fight on top side.
Oh, I love the little vision play there by Schwo and Rookie. They just hold on to it knowing that they had vision of the Pixel Brush as NIP out to an early lead, and I love to see that. A little bit of fight back after that rough game number 1.
Particularly Rookie getting extra gold as well on a Hui against a lot of champions, which can really do a lot of work against. If you manage to hit that Spiraling Despair through the team fight, feels like Top Esports, even just the slow being hit is going to be a really big factor for them. Shanji's now
that's like an Omega deep proxy.
I mean, he's got the public transport system. He's going to have to use that to get out there. I think he's gone too far.
Shanji, oh no. That public transport's not working today. Although he might find an alternate route, he does end up getting the Queen's Wrath knock up there as well, but it's not going to matter. Cream's going to lock him down here. One more Q, and Cream gets his kill.
You have to wait for people to show on the map before you pull that kind of shenanigans. Shanji has always been a proxy farmer. He said Alcasante. It just kind of feels like Top Esports just look at this guy towards the rest like, okay, fine.
He was giggling so much when he died. I'll give him that. He's keeping the smile on his face.
Well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, so the saying goes.
What do you say to your team when you look up that when your team looks up that when you're like underneath their in-him turret while the outer turret's still there? You're like,
I think it's my bad, and you move on to the next play. Mako now left alone on bot side. He's pretty tanky though. Jackie Love not. If he walks into Fog of War, he could be in potential danger. That's why Tien's there to bodyguard him towards lane. NIP trying to play around that Fog of War, but they're walking over too much vision to make good use of it.
We're still waiting on the play. Moving on to the next play here as we go on to the Dragon. Number 2 for Top Esports. We'll see if NIP want to actually contest it. Looks like Aki is right around the pit here. They are moving down 369 though. TP coming in from Shanji.
Deep teleport. So this is the bonus which they had from playing on top Fog of War. They don't see Shanji just yet, and he can get into the back line.
He does end up getting the triple knock up there. That's really big. Here comes Mob across 2 to get some decent damage. Jackie Love is already gone by Rookie. 369 getting locked down by the Spiraling Despair, but it's Top Esports who want the fight, and a quick twirl of the wrist, and it's a double for the Niner man as they move into NIP. Rookie, you have no hope. Dawning Shadow coming across, get the assist for Jackie Love, and that's a snipe from Cream.
It's all in the flick of the wrist, so the Crocodile swings around and takes down the enemies around him. Top Esports, they started off with a great entry into that fight. You think with Jackie Love dead, it would have been a bit of an easy way to get through it with the extra damage off the board from Top Esports, but they can't capitalize yet again. Top Esports just showing that they're a better team fighting team on the whole than NIP, and they have been in this series for the most part. Starts with Draw, trying to hook just to get in range for his ultimate, but he can't quite combo up in the correct way. You can just see that, Jackalope goes down real quick, but 369 gets a free path into the backline while this is happening. 369 on the Renekton, showing again why this guy has been the best top laner, by and large, in the LPL in 2024. He's moved away from playing utility, he's gone way more towards doing damage in those damn team fights. He's doing a heck of a lot of work with that. He just runs forward and makes the difference.
That welcome home to top esports is going to be one that they are very happy about for 369. He has had an incredible split. Meanwhile, just consistently cementing himself as one of the best top laners in our league. And he's been a consistent force for top esports to play around. And on this Renekton, he utilizes the strengths well. And though Shanji tried to pick a pick into it, we still see that this blind pickable Renekton is untouched.
Yeah, top lane counter picks have largely been hit and miss. Really been consistent. We had that Quinn, which I don't even think did well in the individual matchup. Later on,
it's like
it did,
1 in
easy.
5.
Yeah,
But that's what you do as a Quinn, right? You trade your life.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, but it happened anyway. You know what? If it makes you sleep better at night, I'll let you believe that one. But either way, top esports going to get themselves towards this Herald. A couple of the last grubs actually were not taken from that second set of spawns, just the first one of that. Now we have NIP walking through vision to get towards that Herald spawn, so they're not really going to stick around. The big bonus of that last plate for NIP, despite losing the fight, is that they did get the dragon. It's not going to be an early soul, it's a Hextech soul, you've got to be careful of it, and they're fighting again anyway.
Oh yeah, we are. Mother isn't going to make the difference. Tien is going into his death. Now 369 with the Spiraling Despair on top of him will just burst down. And a kill goes back over to NIP. They pick up a couple, and that is big.
That is big, because the whole point about getting that dragon is that you don't have to fight if you don't want to. They do find themselves a good fight, they get themselves some more gold in pocket, and you can really see how well Rookie and Shanji are playing at being peel machines in these team fights, getting disruption in the front line, but then also continuing that through the fight. Starts with Shanji on vision, still finding his way onto the back line. Jackalope flashes out, so he's not safe to walk that far forward, but just look at how much work Rookie does here as well. Throws the ultimate onto 369 for the slow, and it's so hard once you get that Renekton slowed for him to actually have a big value. NIP walk away with 2 kills from that one, an important gold.
You do indeed, and I think now that we see actually some of the strengths that we represented a little bit of for TES in that first game, but now coming into a second game for NIP where they're really coming alive, it feels like. This Smolder is still the biggest issue, and I feel like worry for TES on the Rift.
Definitely is, but right now, one item with Seraph's very, very strong on the way as well. You can't really overlook that. Photic is flying over and just putting himself into position, dragging up in a minute 20. Top Esports taking the Scuttle Crab just before that spawn as well. Quite farming up on that top side. See that 369 really, really strong on the top side. Has a Spear of Shojin alongside the Black Cleaver. Is tanky, very good at kind of keeping himself in the team fight with the extra amount of HP built up compared to something like the Eclipse. We do have that. Oh, wow, he ran into the Ornspire. He ran into the Ornspire. The charge was cancelled.
That's huge, actually, and it will deny the turret going down as well.
Oh, that's
Top
huge.
Esports rebuffed.
I have not seen that before, but it makes a lot of sense. And then suddenly you think of, let's get the Nivea Ornn compositions to stop Herald getting value. Shanji, there is no wall between him and the enemy. There's a good chance he goes down here. Teleport as well, 1v4. He's getting towards the public transport, though. Hops on the subway, gets out alive.
They do end up taking the turret in bot side, so it'll be 2 turrets for Top Esports so far. As they move in with a small lead, they're onto a tier 2 here, while NIP are on the other side of the map trying to get a trade.
So it's going to be 2 turrets for 1. NIP not getting anyone to respond down here. There is even grub buffs, but 4 people sticking around in the bot side. So 369, he has teleport. He can go back to base and teleport should anything come through here. But still, Top Esports walking away, better tower trade. But all the same, NIP getting themselves some more position on the map, which you may be questioning a Smolder comp. Should they be given that? It's only 2k down at 17.5 minutes, which, in another game, you'd say that's pretty bad. But when you look at this composition with the Wei, who's got a lot of gold, the Smolder who's stacking up fine as well, get a little bit worried. NIP, again, they've already got 1 dragon. They don't need to fight for every single one of these. They can give up another one after this if they want to as well. And then Top Esports, their real option is to look towards the Baron, but they're also on Red's side, so fighting Baron as a Red side team is even harder anyway. NIP are not in a bad spot here.
They are not, and they're on second item for Photic as well, which is really big. Obviously waiting for that rapid fire to be a little bit more safe, but they are okay in this type of situation. I feel like last game they were very far down in these early moments, and it made it a lot more difficult for them to execute their composition. But now they actually have something to stand upon, and it comes off the back of a pretty decent early game from Aki and Rookie.
So Fotis on about 10 stacks a minute right now, going towards 190 just before we hit 19 minutes. Jackalev is on a lot less stacks. Last I saw, he was on 55, so he's not up to... I think at 20 minutes he was around about 80-ish last game. So he's going to be behind that mark. So the stacking value also going in favor of NIP. Folks, we could be in for a much closer game than even the last one in this case. Feels like NIP getting themselves to an important point. Getting themselves to second item on Rookie soon as well. Once he completes what I assume to be a Crypt Bloom, he'll be really ready to fire off into the front line too. NIP, they just want to force a good front to back. Top esports, they need to get on top of those carries, but they don't have the flanking Aatrox this time. They have themselves an Ornal, a Centerol, and a Dream, but that might not be enough.
Yeah, I think that might be something to think about a little bit more as well, because I think now that we've gotten to this shade of the game for these two squads, it does bring in some of those machinations of before, especially for NIP where we've seen them struggle. I want to see them close out a composition like this where they aren't behind and they actually have a win condition with Photic, where last game he just wasn't able to get online.
And I don't even think it was Photic's fault. You know, the whole team fight fell apart from him. He was doing damage in the team fights, and the team just died around him. Couldn't get himself into position to do everything. Now, NIP, how much realistically are you willing to fight for here? This is just a red buff. They don't want to go too far. Yes, it is a win for Top Esports, taking stuff out of the enemy jungle. It's not going to be absolutely everything. They take away the red buff just before the 20-minute mark as well. So no global red buff for them, but also no global red buff for NIP if they were to take it a little later in. These buffs can be very, very important. Photic wave clearing once more. And we are left with Top Esports, probably looking to bait around Baron. But as we said, quite hard to play that as a red side team because you have to be pinned against the back of the pit and against a Hwei and against a Smolder. That's not fun.
It's definitely not. It's not. I don't think you would sign yourself up for that one.
No, I would quite like to not be away from the Angry Dragon and the painter with holding a gat.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to get away from him though, because he's real close to 225.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem. We'll deal with that. You know what? We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
That bridge is like right here, Nightmare. It's like right in front of us.
And I'm going to just slowly micromillimeter our way towards that one too. As Top Esports, they want to make this game not about the Smolder, if at all possible now. They'd love to pull NIP across the map. They've tried multiple times now to use teleports. They've used triple teleports in both games so far to try and split the map a little more. Try and stop NIP from just true front backing.
And it's just funny, we have the 6 TPs now as a response to that. It's like, just take more TPs. We're going to see what makes the difference here. But I know we're getting close to second items for Aki and TN, I'm sure. And I think that's going to provide them with a little bit more confidence to move forward in some of these plays. But we have about 1 minute and 30 seconds for another Dragon. Would be a sole point for TES.
Would be, again, NIP, they shouldn't feel forced to take this. They do really care about Baron. They care about losing turrets like this if at all possible. This one should go down. Top Esports, though.
They can't get it again.
We just saw, of course, the execute come online for Photic. 230 stacks after that wave, very importantly. Rookie did go for the Crypt Bloom. He wants just full frontline damage. It's the Void Staff, which means that he can do more damage to stuff like Mako on that Ornn support. Comes in a little later in terms of those items coming through as well, but that will be a factor a little later on. Rookie, how much damage can he do before that hyper tank really starts to be a problem for champions like really this Jax on the rec side?
God, it's starting to get a little scary thinking of how big Photic is going to be in these next fights. You have a Dragon, you're going to be forced to fight around. Cream actually chunking out Shanji, but he can heal so much. And I think a big ticket item here is those long distance engages from Top Esports onto Photic.
They are, but the thing is with those long distance engages is the more I think about it, they're still going to be from in front of the enemy team. You're not flanking with the Ornn, you're not flanking with the Renekton all the time either. You can do, and actually you probably should in this composition. We haven't really seen it being that impactful in this game, but it needs to be not through the front line. If they disrupt your engage, then they snip. These carries can slip the nets. So come back onto the map. Shanji, not quite at 2 items yet. He's stopped off the Bramble Vest for the laning phase, which means he doesn't have the Spirit Visage. Not quite at the front line Exodia level of Rek'Sai right now. But you do almost have the 3 items in both as well. Important. This Dragon fight, they don't quite have the items they want. Does that inform them on how they want to approach this? Do they want to just back off and give this up? They're into River first. Top Esports, they're coming down in force. 369 ready to teleport at a moment's notice.
He's on the top tier 2 up there as well. We'll end up getting Shanji's focus here. but the Dragon already started up by NIP. Tien in position to try to get the steal here. It would be a soul point, like we said, for Top Esports. Wind does become lightning, but does it actually strike twice? It's going to be taken by NIP. Long distance engage goes on to multiple members. The Spiraling Despair actually hits. Nice backline access from Aki, but Jackie Love goes down anyways. Big turnaround now as Photic is looking to bring the heat. And you hear the flap of those wings. You start getting scared as the Dragon comes alive.
Shanji is a god amongst men at the top lane. He marks 369 for the entirety of that play and says, you are not getting to this bot side. Cancels the teleport, teleports in himself, and makes the difference in that fight. NIP, they weren't forced to fight for that, but they take it all the same, and they win. They have another delay on this game if they really want to. They can give over the next Dragon if they want. As we come back to this, the most important thing is the stop of the teleport happening towards the top side of the map. Great delaying by the front line of NIP to make sure the Dragon goes down. But the big thing is the Renekton is not there to threaten the backline. Rookie and Photic get to take a front-to-back fight behind their front lines, and that is what we have painted as an awful picture for Top Esports the entire game.
And that was a flash stop by Shanji. He had the flash to stop 369, but a worth play and a really big moment for NIP to take a little bit of something to reprieve onto, because TES still have the advantage. They still have a strong composition as time goes on, but we have to think that this is literally just going to come down to an arms race between these two in late game.
And again, the gold lead, it becomes a bit decorative at a point because you've just got so many stacks on the table that they matter an awful lot more. 369 getting over to the other side now. You can see that NIP, they walk through the top side of the map to get some vision to make sure that the Baron couldn't get snuck away from them. Shanji behind enemy lines. He does have a couple of tunnels. And I think the geometry of the map will help him out with that one. Not get spotted around that corner. Top Esports, great wards on top side, but they haven't completely cleared out the Baron pit vision. You can see that a couple of resets really likely to come through. Photic just taking himself that red buff on the bottom side of the map. He can teleport back out onto the map in a moment's notice as well. Rookie, once he gets that 3 items himself and goes towards the Leandries, I really feel like Top Esports frontline will have been outscaled at that point. You see if the Baron has now been started through that Scuttle Vision. These teleports need to come through, at least to just face check this Baron and make sure it doesn't go down.
Oh man, we're seeing Top Esports pull the trigger here with the TP, double TP from NIP actually, and they will try to get the engage off the back of it. 369 is leading the charge. He does get locked down. Look at the backline access. Shanji, he finds Jackie Love again. He finds Aki a kill here too. 369 going to be brought down with the Spiraling Despair. All he can do is put his head in his hands. And NIP, all 5 members, they step up to the pit.
So, Tien, no ultimate now. He doesn't have himself a flash to get over to the pit safely that way, or flash back out of the pit, but he can use the Wind Becomes Lightning and charge in audaciously. Shanji wants to stop him from doing that.
Playing pretty aggressively, but the rest of NIP actually moving in over onto Mako. He's going to have to flash. He's getting burned. Here comes the Void Rush, and here comes the kill. Photic gets one. Shanji's out of there like swimwear.
Okay, so Top Esports, they get themselves at least a delay on the Baron, a stop of it. But NIP don't get to take that objective themselves, nor do they get to get themselves that clean fight. Top Esports, they need to be feeling a bit worried right now. We said about NIP coming back from an early deficit. Top Esports in their own right, you know, they fought their way back in the late game before, but they're just going front to back the entire game right now. It's really problematic. You can't just look front to back and hope that things will work for the best. Whereas on the other side, Shanji, Aki, they actually do get into the backline. Jackie Love has not been able to stand and fight. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's just a hard composition when your front line is just running so kind of recklessly into the front line of them. That's going to be a bigger problem now. You've got yourself so many items built up on Photic. He's not felt the need to go for a tank item fourth. He can go towards the Lord Dominates Regards. He's built up the Last Whisper already. Leandry's incoming from Rookie as well. He's probably got that on his next base. Top Esports, they need to find a way into the backline to seal out a 2-0.
It's been really fun to watch Shanji on the Rek'Sai, also with his laughs every time any plays go their way or not go their way. But I also want to belay the seriousness of this series. Top Esports with a win here in this 2-0, or just in a win in this series as a whole, they take second place. They leapfrog JDG for that extra bye. NIP, if they can win this and bring it to 3, take that last game, they would be 4th place. These are big differences in our playoffs, which is one of the most intense in the world.
Oh, hugely so. The Guardian Angel, as it's known, top 2 finish in the regular season, puts you directly into the double elimination portion of the LPL playoffs. Top Esports, they need to win this series. They could do it in this game. They would really like to not go to a third game and put things in question any longer, but this game's looking pretty difficult. Even in gold, yes. Even in terms of team fight, no, that's a little bit harder. Shanji marks out 369 again. He's trying to flank. He needs to. He's just being shut down on the angles.
Consistently shut down by the Shanji Rek'Sai. Again, the first time we've seen this pick in the LPL in top lane. Now the Dragon getting low, and IP in position. Tian trying to get an angle here. He does go in. He doesn't get it, though. Aki is the better of the smiters. Now the re-engage coming in. Mako's going to try to pull it back. Here comes 369. He finds that angle, and Cream gets some damage down. Look at that shielding from the Sterix. Cream is doing some work. He's going to flash. He forces the hand of NIP, and Shanji goes to his death.
Oh!
Here goes Tien. He's going to burn. He's going to burn, and Photic gets it.
The last kill there gives an NIP a single kill in that team fight. Credit to Cream and Jaculov getting the shots onto the backline to make sure that Rookie and Photic can't have a clean team fight. They can't find the great flank angle again, but they do at least zone off Photic and Rookie from being able to really just run over the team fights as they have been doing so far in the mid and late game. NIP walk away with the Dragon all the same, though. It means that top piece was a note closer to a Hextech Soul, which is a big problem for them. Again, now it comes down to the next Dragon. Actually, it feels like Aki, with all these smites going his way, top esports need to be very careful around the next objectives. Tien, when he goes in for that smite, still effectively gives up his frontline position. He can't flank the backline. Big moment here, though, is just Cream landing this Mantra Q onto the backline. The slow, the damage onto Photic means that he can't flap forward with as much impunity on this Smolder. And it really kind of baits in Shanji as he feels like he has the backup. He absolutely doesn't. He's not that tanky just yet. He regens a lot. He does get burst out, though.
Such tight turnaround, such a contested game, 30 minutes in, and we're dead even between these two teams. We already set up the stakes, but what a way to bring back what was a very tough game number one from NIP, and honestly, least that we could expect from two of our top teams.
Can I just say, at least, though, NIP, there's been a lot of talk about this team, and, you know, is their record really as it stands? Have they walked away with a better record than they deserved? How good of a team are they? They're standing up to top esports here. I feel like these team fights have looked a lot better than a lot of their mid-split team fights, where they really were quite suspect in that area of the game. They're doing quite well here now. Top esports, you know, absolutely no slouches, despite the fact that they've maybe had some worries in their back half of the split as well. Top esports walked away with game one after a slip up and over push at the bot inhib turret in that late game after the Baron buff. Doesn't feel like they're going to get that as easily again. One thing to note, though, we do have the Ornn finally reaching the point where any levels beyond this point will give some extra Ornn items to the rest of the team. Getting stuff like the Obsidian Cleaver for Tien or 369 can give some extra stats. Of course, the Death Cap built up for Cream can go to the Death Crown as well. I think that's probably the first one you hit here, actually, given how important Cream has been at hitting the backline. I feel like it's either him. I don't actually know whether whether the opportunity goes into an Ornn item. It might have to be Cream on the Death Crown.
I also want to highlight fourth items being completed there. There's that upgrade onto Cream, but fourth item for 369, who has slowly gotten very close to flame horizoning Shanji on the Rek'Sai. You also got fourth item for Photic. So he is online. Lord Doms is there, and you've got to watch the positioning. Literally, it all comes down to one pickoff.
Tien takes a lot of damage. Everyone takes a lot of damage. Teleport in. Could this be the fight? No, it's a disengage.
That's what they wanted.
I don't think they can find anything more than this.
I think that's what they wanted. They do pull away a little bit. Blinking health bars, about half health for multiple members. NIP are going to move mid lane.
They are. So, the ninjas, normally known for working in the shadows, they're doing this in broad daylight, trying to sink a knife into this series, get themselves onto the board. Tien's here.
Oh, they got a big angle here if he hits that one, but he does not turn wind into lightning. Top esports push NIP out of the mid lane after they take that tier 2, but the biggest question is regaining some of this positioning here because the Dragon coming up in about a minute and 15 seconds.
There's been a lot of swings and misses right now. Flank angles and hooks, oh my.
That's the stress, though. That's the pressure. One of these goes in.
Tien forced to blow that ultimate. So dangerous now. He won't have that up for potentially a Baron start from NIP. I think it will be up for potentially... Oh, he might just be dead.
Shanji wants it. They get him as Aki gets that kill here, too. They actually ping over to the Baron.
They do, because they can take that and then they can go potentially towards the Dragon afterwards. It's not like top esports can start the Dragon, because what happens if Aki goes down alone and just goes for the smite? You don't have a smite yourself, so top esports, they have to defend the Baron. Do they just let this go down and hope they can fight for the Dragon, delay that a little more against the Baron buff? That might be their best macro option remaining outside of a Miracle Steal from Cream getting a Mantra Q over the wall. They're teleporting. They might even look for the fight.
They actually do. 369, again, he's huge. He's 4 items. He's going to pop Dominus. Spiraling
Rookie.
Despair on Mako. Look at him. He found Rookie. He found him. That's a big tonic shadow from Jackie Love. They've already taken the king of the middle, as now they actually get Aki on the backline here. But 369 is handling business.
He gets him!
He's rolling 9s like it's nobody's business. Get this guy's dice checked, because Top Esports, calm, cool, and collected, will dominate in IP.
He does it again! How does he always do it? 369 rolling high here against NIP. The Ninjas, they had such a good start in this game. It felt like they'd done it. It felt like they'd scaled, but it is not enough.
The wings of the dragon were soaring oh so high, but Top Esports clipped them at their roots. They will smash NIP in 2-0 fashion. They will leapfrog JDG, and they will be our second place team in the spring split of LPL 2024.